seldom used linebacker. 56 is in the game. And that is caught on the run. And out in front is C.J. Spinner. And Spinner's going to go all the way to end the game. An 80-yard touchdown pass. Damian Wilson was covering on the play, and what a way for Drew Brees to come up with touchdown pass number 400.
And live from the WQAQ studio at Quinnipiac University, you're listening to Infinite Sports Radio on this chilly Tuesday evening. I thank you for joining us. I'm Kenneth Grunfelder, along with the great Ben Upson, always playing the sound clips before the broadcast. And as you just listened, and as you probably heard in the news, Drew Brees, the 13-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, has retired, has finally announced his retirement. He did it on the 15th anniversary of when he signed with the New Orleans Saints.
Wow, that's kind of bittersweet.
So, kind of makes you wonder, is that why he waited so long to announce his retirement, was to wait for that day? And I think that many people would agree with that, and I think that is why Drew Brees waited so long to call it quits after a phenomenal career. Not just on the field, but off the field as well. I think a lot of people are familiar with the stuff that he did during Hurricane Katrina, all the stuff that he did for the community and that city and that franchise, because the Saints really were irrelevant. And once Drew Brees got there, he changed the entire dynamics of that franchise, and eventually captured a Super Bowl championship in 2009 against the Indianapolis Colts. Many people will remember that game for the pick six that Peyton Manning threw to Tracy Porter. Really just a phenomenal career, Drew Brees. Again, another domino has fallen. Growing up and watching this guy play, and seeing guys like Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning retire, and Drew Brees now joins that crew. Also Peyton Manning retiring as well. It's just another quarterback that you grow up watching, and he's gone, and we're going to probably see a few more in the coming years. But just to kind of go through Drew Brees' career, just obviously the last couple years you kind of you sit back and you wonder what could have been with the Saints. Coming so close, getting back to the Super Bowl, and then just always something crazy will happen. Back in 2011, you had the Vernon Davis catch again with the 49ers. With not a lot of time left. That game was a shootout in the divisional round. Obviously, in 2017, you had the Minneapolis Miracle. 2018, you had the controversial no pass interference call against the Rams. 2019, you had the Vikings defeating the Saints in overtime, and there was some pushback on whether the touchdown catch to Kyle Rudolph in the end zone was a pass interference or not, if it was a push-off. And then most recently, you had the Saints up by 7 and against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the future Super Bowl champs, and they kind of fell apart there in the last quarter and a three, late in the third quarter and going into the fourth quarter. So it is kind of upsetting that Brees kind of ends his career the way it did end, but the guy, there's no question he's going to end up in Canton. He's, a guy that, from, 2011 to 2018, I mean, the Saints did go a couple of years without making the playoffs, but Brees was still putting up phenomenal numbers. Obviously, he's got right now at the moment he has the all-time passing yards record. He's second in career touchdowns behind Tom Brady. I think that's not a surprise there, considering that Brady is playing well into his 40s. Obviously, he's had many great moments. Going back to it's the game against the Chargers where he broke the record for the most consecutive touchdown passes.
What a feat.
You had that. Becoming the all-time passing yards leader when he did. I think that was against, I want to say Washington in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, if it was that game. And then obviously, the last couple of seasons, him and Brady have been going back and forth with a touchdown pass record. Obviously, Brady is now the all-time leader in that. The guy's passed for 5,000 yards multiple times. Really, for the most part, the guy played this year. He played 12 games, and he threw 24 touchdowns. Last year, he played in 11 games. He threw 27 touchdowns. He's thrown over 23 touchdowns in pretty much every season, other than the first couple of years where he was a San Diego Charger. One of the teams that I remember that one of those teams that you kind of look back upon and say, how did they not win the Super Bowl? Was that 2011 Saints team? I remember the Giants were playing them on a Monday night, and they got absolutely destroyed by the Saints. The Saints that year, just in the Dome, they were unbeatable. I mean, they talk about home field advantage. That was one of those teams where if you were going to that stadium, you were not beating them on their home turf. And I think for a while, I thought of Brees as kind of a dome QB, because then sometimes the Saints would go on the road and they just wouldn't play up to par like they usually would. I think the last couple of years, Brees has shown me since that point that the Saints are still a good team outside of the dome. Obviously, not the last couple of years, because Brees, is declined. He's not what he was. Wasn't what he was, 5 to 6 years ago. This year, especially with all the injuries, the ribs, and I think it was his shoulder, couldn't push the ball down the field. It was time. It was time, and you just were wondering when it was going to happen. But I think on the anniversary of when he signed with the Saints, I think it made sense. It made a lot of sense. And going back to his Charger days, he had that horrific shoulder injury, and that kind of maybe turned a lot of teams off, because he was a free agent, and he kind of went through the similar process as Peyton Manning did, where you had teams that he got let go by his team for the successor. Peyton Manning, it was with Andrew Luck, and in this case it was Phillip Rivers, who ended up taking over as the starter for Drew Brees when Brees ended up going to the Saints. And Brees kind of, cemented his legacy once he went to the Saints. I think he's definitely a top 10 quarterback all time. I don't want to say he's top 5 just yet. But I think he's definitely top 10 all time. I think just because of the amount of passing categories and just the stats that he was putting up in the regular season. Because the Saints, from 2014 to 2016, they did not make the playoffs. But Brees was still throwing close to 5,000 yards every season. He had 33 touchdowns in 2014, 32 in 2015. And 37 in 2016. You know, the interceptions, you know, you compare him to a guy like Aaron Rodgers who's throwing in single digits every year. You know, the turnovers are up there a little bit. Well, for his stature, you know, they're a little high. But, you know, overall, I mean, every year, the Saints offense was pretty good. And I think those couple of years, it in large part had to do with how bad the Saints defense was. But you know what? He had a great career. He obviously should get into the Hall of Fame. First year he's on the ballot, no question. Wish him nothing but the best in retirement. He's going to be a broadcaster with NBC Sports. So he'll be probably joining the Football Night in America crew in some capacity. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be doing color. Most likely that's what he's going to be doing if he's broadcasting a game. He's definitely going to be color. But you know, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I mean, he had a great career, and again, wish him nothing but the best. And yeah, Jameis Winston, it's your turn.
Yes, indeed, Kenny. Jameis Winston, of course, as part of, you know, the free agency craze that is already getting underway this week, he is going to be back in New Orleans next season, re-signing with the Saints on a one-year deal worth up to $12 million. That's according to Adam Schefter. But where do we begin with Drew Brees, really? I mean, all these career highlights, a Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl MVP, two-time Offensive Player of the Year, Walter Payton Man of the Year, which is an amazing award, Comeback Player of the Year in 2004, first-team All-Pro, four-time second-team All-Pro, a 13-time Pro Bowl appearances, seven-time NFL passing yards leader, four-time NFL passing touchdowns leader, two times NFL passer rating leader, and six-time NFL completion percentage leader. And that is just a snippet of Drew Brees' career accolades. And then, of course, Kenny, you already mentioned it, most career passing yards and pass completions, the highest single-season completion percentage, the most consecutive games with a touchdown pass, and the most pass completions in a season, and also the most 5,000 passing yard seasons. He had four of them in his career. And Drew Brees, it's very sad to see him go. It is, especially like you were talking about, Kenny, with all the times the Saints have really gotten unlucky in the playoffs. I mean, between the Minneapolis Miracle and the no call there on Tommy Lee Lewis, Nickel Roby-Coleman clearly interfered that pass, as we say it now all these years later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some controversial calls a little bit later in the show.
Oh, Kenny, don't get me riled up too quick, man. We're still in the NFL. All right. He's alluding to another sport, folks. But, yeah, those 2 years specifically alone just absolutely screwed the Saints out of chances to go far, really. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, that it would have happened, but I think that the Saints would have given the Eagles a better run than 38-7. I think that, you know, the Saints would have been a better NFC rep than the Rams, because that was the NFC Championship, right? Not the divisional round. Was that the
the Rams?
Yeah, the Rams game.
That was a championship game.
Right,
Yep.
Right. That was you know, for a trip to the Super Bowl.
That was a great championship weekend, by the way.
Yes.
Both games going into overtime.
Yes, it was.
Unfortunately, we did not get the Super Bowl that we were hoping for.
No. Instead,
or this year
we ended up with Rams Patriots.
Yeah, which is something that
Saints Patriots would have been much better.
Yeah, which was the matchup that I think everybody didn't want.
Yeah.
You could have had the Chiefs and the Saints. You could have had the Rams and the Chiefs, which was that 50, which they played in the regular season. They had that 54-51 marathon.
Yep.
On Monday Night Football,
which is still one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
But of course, we got the worst matchup out of the four possible combinations.
Yeah, and you got Rams Patriots. Saints would have done much better there too. So see, those are just prime examples right there. And you can't forget too. Drew Brees actually did start his career out in San Diego for 5 years. Well, 5 years, I should say, as a starter. 4 years, excuse me. He was out there a total of 5. And, you know, he was young back then. He really didn't do much as like he did with New Orleans. He had his first full season, you know, he threw just over 3,000 passing yards with 17 touchdowns, 16 picks. He was 23 years old that year in 2002. And then he comes to New Orleans in 2006, and that's where everything changed. And he had an absolutely amazing career in New Orleans. 142 and 86 as the quarterback. 68% completion percentage in New Orleans. 68,000 passing yards. He had just over 80,000 for his career. 491 of his 571 touchdowns. And his QBR, or excuse me, his overall rating, I should say, it hung right around 100 for his career. 100. That's amazing. And as you know, I was just going through some of the accolades and his career achievements. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, there is no reason why Drew Brees isn't a top 10 quarterback. I mean, seriously. Top 5 is a little debatable. That might be a little bit too high for Drew Brees. But top 10 should definitely be where he's positioned, Kenny. And unfortunately, you know, the Saints didn't get as many opportunities to really, you know, go run down a title because, like we said, in 17 and 18 specifically, they come to mind in years that the Saints got screwed. And I guess, honestly, in 2019, losing to the Vikings at home in the wild card round. So that's 3 consecutive seasons there that the Saints really had great chances, you know, to go to a Super Bowl. And, well, maybe not as much in 2019, but definitely in 17 and 18. Those 2 teams were really solid. And unfortunately, 0 for 2 in those opportunities. But no matter what, Drew Brees has done so much in his career and so much off the field, too. Obviously, when Hurricane Katrina rolled through there, the New Orleans area, I think it was 2005. So much help that he provided to that community, which was going through a ton. And as I said, Man of the Year is such a distinguished award in the National Football League, and anybody who is able to win that award in a given season should be very proud of themselves because it is a very honorable award, to say the least. And I'm just glad that Drew Brees, you know, was able to bring so much to the game on and off the field. And look, he's not going anywhere, folks. You're going to see him a lot when, you know, NBC has their NFL telecast, whether it'll be a studio job for Football Night in America. That's probably where he'll end up going into. I don't know if he'll jump into the booth, you know, right off the bat. There's been rumors swirling, of course, that Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth will be going out with Super Bowl 56 next year, but nothing's been confirmed. So that's just talks. But there just might be a chance that Mike Tirico and Drew Brees take over the new booth for NBC. I don't know why I said booth. I meant to say booth, but my mind interpreted that as booth. Okay. But, yeah, I'm just so happy for Drew Brees. Unfortunately, what I hate the most, and, you know, I've been talking about this with quite a few people, that it was such a sour ending to what was a phenomenal career, because that Tampa Bay game, Saints were up 7 about midway through the third quarter, and ever since Jared Cook lost control of that ball and the Bucks defense was able to corral that, ever since that point in that game, things went south quick, and Drew Brees had a 3-pick game to end his career, and yeah, it's just so sad that it had to end like that.
Yeah, against Tom Brady, no less.
Yeah, what a surprise there. And Kenny, we've already been talking about this before on the past shows, but it was evident that Drew Brees' arm strength was not as good this year. And it was pretty clear that, he was bound to retire, whether it be this year or, as we were thinking, at least I was thinking in the last week, that he might be coming back for one more year. And I would have supported that. But in some ways, you know what? He deserves to call it quits. He's 42 years old. He's done already so much for this league and really became one of the faces of the NFL for the last 15 years. So, as everyone has been saying on social media, #thank you, Drew, for all that you've done for the league.
Yeah. I mean, the NFL lost a good one. It's gonna stink not seeing him out there playing. And I just want to say though, I mean, I know I touched upon it briefly, but we talked about, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, just the retirement in general, and we kind of compared it a lot to Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, his last season, threw 9 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. Drew Brees threw 24 touchdowns and 6 picks and nearly passed for 3,000 yards and completed almost 71% of his passes. People talk about, the lack of arm strength and, the inability to, provide big plays. And you got to remember Drew Brees, didn't have his top target in Michael Thomas for a large portion of the year, pretty much the whole regular season. And, the fact that he was able to still throw for 24 touchdowns, nearly pass for 3,000 yards in 12 games this season is pretty incredible. Because, Peyton Manning couldn't say the same thing. And they kind of suffered, similar injury, not similar injuries, but, injuries that, kind of could have compromised them and prevented them from playing really any more football. I mean, we didn't know if Peyton Manning was going to play football after all his neck surgeries. And, look what he did. I think a lot of teams didn't really want to give, were very standoffish with Drew Brees when he suffered his injury. And the Saints took a chance on him, and he took advantage of that and really had a Hall of Fame career. Nearly throwing for 500 touchdowns with the Saints, has been alluded to earlier. Can't wait to see what he does, how he does as a broadcaster. Can't wait for when he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. But the other thing that I'm kind of happy about is that I think after the controversy that surrounded him before the season started with the whole with the stuff that pertained to the American flag and how his teammates reacted to that, and we're all just kind of taking shots at him on social media for his comments. I really thought that was kind of ridiculous, and I thought that that his teammates should not have taken that so personally, and just immediately take to social media and take shots at him for something that he obviously didn't mean to offend anybody. But, that's how some of his teammates reacted. I'm happy that I think for the most part everything kind of died down and they were able to work things out and have a productive season. It was very aggravating to see how fast a lot of his teammates turned on him after everything that he's done for the community and what he is as a player. But again, I'm happy they worked things out. And let's see what the Saints do next year. But they, I don't know what's going to happen with the Saints going forward. They got that guy Tom Brady down in Tampa, bringing everybody back to go at it again for another title. So the Saints, let's see what they do going forward. So to kind of segue from Drew Brees to more NFL stuff, we got some NFL free agency stuff to talk about. And I think one team in particular, Mr. Upson, that I think we could both agree upon, that had a hell of a first day to free agency, and that was the New England Patriots.
Kenny, Bill Belichick was, I hadn't heard anything. Where he was staying out of the public eye ever since the Bucks won that Super Bowl. And for good reason. You think that looks good that your former quarterback was in Tampa and led that team to a Super Bowl in his first season? Is that a good look, Bill? I don't think so. But I'll tell you one thing. He's making it up right now with some really impressive moves in this offseason. In the last couple of days, the Patriots have re-signed Trent Brown to a one-year deal. They've got two of the top tight ends now that were out there in free agency. Hunter Henry from the Los Angeles Chargers and Jonnu Smith from the Tennessee Titans. Smith got a 4-year, $50 million deal. Henry, 3-year, $37.5 million deal, I think. And also, you got Jalen Mills from the Philadelphia Eagles. Good defensive pickup there, because we know the Patriots could definitely use somebody there as well. Even though they needed a tight end, especially. Goodness.
Yeah, to pair with their with Ossie and Matt Lacoste.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. That was not going to cut it. And as Adam Schefter tweets, in less than 24 hours, the Patriots have guaranteed over $137.5 million, placing them second in NFL history for most guaranteed money in a free agent signing period. And the record could still be theirs since the free agency frenzy really gets underway 4 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, March 17th.
Yeah, because these were all just verbal agreements, though. They haven't officially
correct. Nothing is official yet. But who am I missing? Trent Brown, Jalen Mills.
Matthew Judon.
That's right, Matthew
Edge
Judon.
rusher from Baltimore.
Right, Matthew Judon. That's
Nelson Aguilar.
Nelson Aguilar. Yeah, see, I knew I was forgetting
and Kendrick
some
Bourne from the 49ers.
Yep, that's right, Kendrick Bourne. Look, these are all really nice pickups that the Patriots could have used. They could have used anyone, especially on offense, really. They had the money, and they spent it wisely. And, now that, as you saw earlier, Kenny, I forgot that next year's a 17-game season. The Patriots could be on their way to, I think, a 10-win season if this roster is able to come together with these additions. Because after what was really a dismal season last year, and obviously, can't forget that Cam Newton's back on a 2-year deal. So that might be the one thing that's really hinging on the Patriots' success next year. They have the guys on offense. They got Judon. They got Mills on defense. 2 good pickups. What's going to happen now with Cam Newton? Are we going to see the same Cam Newton that took the field last year, who was flat out terrible? Or are we going to see shades of the Cam Newton that we were used to seeing in Carolina? That remains to be seen. But the Patriots have pieces in place now. And it's all about getting them to work together. And I don't know, Kenny. I really don't know if I could say with, definity right now that Cam Newton is the answer in New England.
Yeah, I think the jury is still out on Cam Newton. I mean, I really think the only argument you can make is the Patriots' skill positions had a lot to be desired. The best receiver was probably Jacoby Myers. You had Julian Edelman in and out of the lineup. N'Keal Harry really hasn't lived up to his expectations. You know, he was the guy that New England picked instead of DK Metcalf. And I think Justin Jefferson as well. But, you know, personally for me, I think as of right now, I think New England is a playoff team right now. I think now with the addition of that third wild card spot, I think also what you forgot to mention was, you know, you had some key guys on the Patriots defense that opted out prior to this season, Dante Hightower and Patrick Chung. So essentially, you're getting those two guys back.
That's right. That's easy to forget about those two. Yeah, because so many players opted out.
Yeah.
You know, with COVID going on. And
So
wow,
you put them
right.
on that defense again, with the additions of Jalen Mills, with the additions of Matthew Judon, and obviously with the guys that they already have in place in the secondary, the McCourty brothers. I don't know what's going to happen with Stephon Gilmore. I think he's probably on the move at some point. Oh, and then also they have J.C. Jackson in the secondary as well. So the defense of New England, you know, it's still got some work to do, but it's coming together, and I think it's going to be vastly improved from last season. The offense, if not the defense, the offense is going to be much improved. Nelson Aguilar had a breakout season, nearly going for, I think, 900 yards receiving. One of the concerns you might have is, will he turn back into the Eagles Nelson Aguilar that first started out his career in the NFL?
I don't think Eagles fans want to remember that.
Or will we want to see, or are we going to see a continuation of what he did this past season in Las Vegas? I think we're going to see a continuation. However, the one thing that you have to be concerned about is the drops. He's a guy that was, I think, in like the top 6 for the most drops among receivers. And then, you know, I think Kendrick Bourne, I think that's kind of an under-the-radar signing. You know, he obviously with San Francisco, they drafted Brandon Ayuk. They got Deebo Samuel there. So Kendrick Bourne's kind of the forgotten man out there in San Francisco. So, I think New England, he's going to get more opportunities. But I got to tell you, I love the fact that they got not one but 2 of the top tight ends, probably the top 2 tight ends in this free agency class, in Hunter Henry and Johnny Smith. As you play the cha-ching sound effect, they cashed in. They cashed in. I really think that you're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets. New England's going to want to run the football a lot too, and I think they're going to be able to do that because you saw flashes with Damian Harris and Sony Michel coming back. I think they're going to be a ground and pound team. I think they're going to continue to incorporate some running plays with Cam Newton because, you know, he was pretty pathetic when it came to, you know, passing categories. You know, 24th in passing yards. He was, get this, he was 33rd in passing touchdowns. How many starting quarterbacks are there usually in the NFL? 32. He was 33. 33. So, and then he was 18th in interceptions, and he was 30th in QBR. He had a 47 QBR. That's not going to cut it. I think he's going to do better. I really think a lot of it did have to do with the fact that they really didn't have any weapons to work with. I think that, yes, he could be erratic sometimes as a passer, and I think that, you know, he's been banged up talk about quarterbacks that have been banged up over the years. Cam Newton's one of those guys that's, you know, got absolutely crushed over the course of his career. I think this is going to benefit Cam Newton. I'm kind of with a lot of people that said that, if he didn't get COVID, the Patriots definitely would have had a better record and maybe would have squeaked in, maybe would have got that last wild card spot. I don't know. For me, I really believe that if Cam Newton was healthy, I think that the Patriots would have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs. That game was close throughout the whole game. The Patriots couldn't get anything going on offense. The Chiefs, they were struggling. They really didn't explode until the second half. And part of that was the pick six that was thrown. Tyrann Mathieu picked off. I think it was Jared Stidham at that point. But I just think now when you have guys that you can actually throw to and rely upon, I really think the Patriots are going to be, I don't want to say a Super Bowl contender. They're definitely a playoff contender. They definitely got a shot to win this division. When you look at every team in that division, I think Buffalo is probably, right now, I would even go as far as to say that the Patriots might be a little bit better than Miami at this point, considering the unknowns with Tua Tagovailoa.
That's a great point you bring up there, because we haven't heard anything about that situation either.
No,
really,
they just signed. The Dolphins signed Jacoby Brissett to back up Tua because now obviously Fitzpatrick is now at Washington.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. 1 year, $10 million deal for Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic, as we have heard him be called over the years.
And it seems like Washington might be going to him as a starter if it's not Taylor Heineke. So it looks like the Giants might have to be dealing with some Fitzmagic or either Fitzmagic or the Giants can make him look Fitztragic.
So the NFC East right now might look like Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Dak Prescott.
Yeah, that's a weird assortment of quarterbacks.
Wow.
Outside of the Patriots, though, another team that I want to say that's had, a pretty good start to free agency is the LA Chargers. Now, the reason why I say the LA Chargers is because they signed Corey Linsley, who was the center for the Packers for the last 6 years now. And they also signed offensive guard from the Pittsburgh Steelers to a contract. Don't know the name off the top of my head.
And also,
that was just signed.
They hired Brendan Staley, too, as their new head coach.
Yes.
Right? Yep.
So, the reason why I say the Chargers is because, they want to protect Justin Herbert. And I think that's something that a lot of teams, they signed Matt Feeler? Is that how you pronounce it? Pretty sure from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, signing him, signing Corey Linsley. You got Brian Bulaga out there, who they got from the Packers last season. They are prioritizing protecting Justin Herbert. And I think when you have a young quarterback, you have to protect him. And you've seen guys like Andrew Luck get absolutely abused in the early part of the season. You're seeing Russell Wilson starting to come out and complain about it right now. Deshaun Watson, and most recently in the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes not having both of his tackles and getting absolutely destroyed in the Super Bowl. I think these were good moves for the Chargers, and I think Justin Herbert is going to have pretty good protection next year. Because Corey Linsley is one of the best centers in the NFL. And I think Aaron Rodgers will agree with that. Any other teams out there that you think had a good start to free agency so far?
Well,
Mr. Upson?
I'll take it the other way, Kenny. And a team that has not had a good start to free agency.
Oh.
I think you might know who that is.
I think I do. I think I do know who you're talking about.
That would be the New York Giants.
I actually thought you were going to say the Jets. I'm like,
no,
really?
no. I wasn't going to say the Jets. No way. No, the New York Giants. Yeah, so look at the Patriots, Giants. Look what they've done. Meanwhile, what have we done? Great, we paid Leonard Williams today. Great. That's number one, okay? Where's the big signing number two? What? Really? Devontae Booker? Oh, so we're going to put him behind Saquon. Okay. Great. 2 years, $6 million?
Yeah, Devontae Booker and John Ross. What's wrong with that?
John Ross, though? John Ross and Devontae Booker. That's the best that we can do. Gettleman. Come on, buddy.
Yeah, it's...
Got to get out. We got to get out there on that market. Get somebody. Just even if it's one more. Leonard Williams, great start. Great start. Ever since the Giants got him from the Jets. Changed man. But who's next, Gettleman? Come on. And you were telling me about this, Kenny, off the air before we came in tonight. If the Giants aren't able to put together, a playoff season, this could be it for Dave Gettleman.
I think it is.
This really could be it.
It is.
So the Giants, they got to get it together here.
Well, the other thing I want to say is
get somebody. Just get somebody.
The cap space situation.
Yes,
because
that's not helping.
You got to remember that the Giants didn't have the cap space that the Patriots have.
Yeah, they had the Patriots were
what, like
so
far, $60 million or something?
So far below the cap. Yeah, 60 something. Yeah.
They were able to spend whatever they wanted. So I think that has something to do with it.
Yeah, but you're right. The Giants didn't have that ability.
But the other thing is now, Gettleman has been the GM since the end of that horrible 2017 season. Okay, we are now. It's going to be 2021. Okay, so you've had 2018, 2019, 2020, now 2021. You're going to have now. This is going to be your fourth full season as the general manager of this team. If we do not see this team vastly improved and leading this division by Thanksgiving, or at least in contention for the division by Thanksgiving, this guy should be fired. I think he got a little bit of a break last season because of, the games, how the Giants were competing in a lot of the games that they played in last year. And, obviously that huge win against Seattle that I don't think anybody expected, beating the Seahawks in Seattle. That was probably one of the best wins the Giants have had in a long time, if not the best one. The Giants, they got to make a splash, whether it's in free agency or if they go out and they have a great draft. Because Gettleman has hit on some guys in the draft. But, we want to see more, Dave. Okay, you've been here for a while now. And, this is it, man. If this team is not a playoff team next year, you're done. You're out of here. Joe Judge, I love you. You are going to be this coach for a long time. The players bought into you. We got to get somebody in here that is going to build around Daniel Jones. If it's not Daniel Jones, whatever quarterback we got, and continuing to improve that defense. It is pretty aggravating as of right now that the Giants really haven't done anything. Now, there's still guys out there the Giants can get. Kenny Golladay is still out there. I think if the Giants signed him, I think that a lot of fans will be at ease, like myself. There's still there are still guys out there that they can sign. It's not like the sky is falling or anything, but we're getting a little aggravated here that they haven't done anything. The Jets, however, they signed Corey Davis, who had a breakout season with the Titans. They signed Carl Lawson from the Cincinnati Bengals. So they're making some moves. To upgrade, at the receiver position, which I think a lot of Jet fans will say has been pretty thin over the last couple of years, when they had to have guys like Braxton Berrios and others having expanded roles. So I think that definitely helps the Jets on offense. Defensively, definitely adds to their need for pass rushers when it comes to Carl Lawson. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with C.J. Mosley. Him opting out last season, whether they're going to move that contract or not. But right now, the Jets, I would say they've had the better free agency so far. Now, then again, listen, free agency just started, okay? There's still plenty of guys out there. The Giants' cap situation isn't like what I just said before, like the Patriots. But, come on. Let's spend some money. Let's have a good draft. And let's be competitive. Because right now, when we look at this division, we're competing with the Eagles, who are a dumpster fire. And I feel very bad for Jalen Hurts. Who knows what, the great Nick Sirianni is going to bring to that organization. After we've alluded to his press conference.
Nick
Sirianni. Or lack thereof.
That guy looks so lost.
Yeah. Personally, I think I would have given maybe a slightly better press conference than his. But listen, if he comes up with a good scheme, the players buy in, they win games, who cares? Who cares how he talks? And then you got the Cowboys. They paid Dak Prescott. They got their offensive weapons coming back. They got to improve the offensive line, the defense. Got to shore up the defense. Could they be the best team in the division? They could be. They could be. But they always are, according to all the experts that pick them to win it every year. And then you got Washington. Washington is interesting now. You had Ryan Fitzpatrick. And you got Taylor Heineke there, who started in the playoff game against the Tampa Bay Bucks and played pretty well. They got the defense. That front four is very nasty.
The Ravens, too, Kenny. Getting Kevin Zeitler now. They re-signed Pernell McPhee and Derek Wolfe.
See now, what did you think about the Giants releasing Zeitler?
I personally don't know why. That seemed unexpected to me.
I mean, I kind of expected it only because of just the cap. Because right now the cap is
well, right. The Giants had to free up some space.
Yeah, because the cap situation is all due to the pandemic. Because like people were saying, we were going to have like a massacre of people getting cut, and that's kind of happened a little bit. With some guys that you're kind of surprised that some teams let go. But, yeah, now the Ravens making some moves on the offensive line. Protect Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and, I think we got to pay some homage here to this team who made a fantastic move today. Let's give it up for the Chicago Bears getting Andy Dalton, all right? Yes. Very, very well done, Chicago. What a move. 1 year, $10 million deal for Andy Dalton. He's going to change the franchise. Russell Wilson, who? They didn't need him. Andy Dalton's the clear answer. And they franchise tagged Allen Robinson, of course. What was that, a week or two ago now? Hey, the Bears, man. They're back. They're going to compete in the NFC North again. No, please. Andy Dalton. That's the best you could do. Oh, come on.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, they got rid of Trubisky. Trubisky's a free agent. You hear rumors about them going after Deshaun Watson. That doesn't work out. Dak Prescott, maybe. That doesn't work out. Maybe Carson Wentz. You heard Carson Wentz, right? That doesn't happen. He goes to Indianapolis. Then you apparently make a huge offer to the Seahawks for Russell Wilson. That doesn't work out. And what do? They get the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. So now, going into next season, you are going to have a quarterback competition between Andy Dalton and Nick Foles. I mean, that's terrible.
Wow.
Now, listen, Nick Foles has won a Super Bowl, okay? Andy Dalton had, one of the biggest moments in his career when he beat the Ravens to send the Bills to the playoffs. Yeah, that was such a big moment because it didn't benefit his team. It benefited a different team. Okay, so, these guys, they've done things in their career. They've been productive at times in their career. Andy Dalton more consistently than Nick Foles. But if you're the Bears and you got a competition between Andy Dalton and Nick Foles, that's really not a good sign for your franchise, to say the least.
Andy Dalton.
Now, listen,
come on.
I don't know. I think maybe Andy Dalton is an upgrade from Mitchell Trubisky, but does it really matter? It's Mitchell Trubisky. Maybe for our roommate Johnny's sake, Andy Dalton will throw a pass to Javon Wims. He'll catch it this time, and Johnny will win some money for that. I don't know. Maybe the luck will be on their side this time.
Oh yeah, and guess who's going to have to see potentially Andy Dalton again this coming season? That would be the New York Giants. Going to have to play the Bears this season, Kenny. We might have to see Dalton again, even after he's gone from the division.
Who cares? The only reason why we saw him is because Dak Prescott got hurt, and I'm not really concerned about that. The Giants could have beaten the Bears the last 2 years that they played.
And poor Allen Robinson is just stuck there now.
Yeah,
after getting tagged. I mean, he is
poor Allen Robinson. What about that defense?
Oh yeah, seriously, it's so depressing that the Bears have a pretty good defense, and you just know that your offense is not capable of doing anything. I mean,
you saw it in the playoff game.
What did the Bears average last season? Like 22 points a game? It might not even have been that.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot to be desired.
It was terrible.
And honestly, Nick Foles did kind of ignite the offense against Atlanta when they came back against Atlanta. I mean, that's just because Atlanta is terrible. But outside of that, I mean, the Bears' offense under Nick Foles was terrible.
Look at that. I didn't even look at the numbers. Chicago was 9th worst in the league. 22.4 points per game.
Wow, look at that. Look at that.
I was just going based off of, remembering their scores. Because the Bears had quite a few games, actually, this season where they didn't score 20 points or more.
No.
This team beat the Bucks in week 4.
Scoring exactly 20 points.
Yeah, and we know what happened after week 7 when they started out, 5-1?
Yeah, it was. That
quickly went south.
It was all a mirage. You knew they weren't as good as their record said that it was. They were frauds. They were frauds. They're not going to be anything special next year. I mean, let's be honest. The only reason why they even made the playoffs is because the Cardinals just couldn't beat John Wolford. And then they lose to the injury-prone 49ers. The Cardinals choked that last playoff spot. And you could say Kyler Murray was banged up towards the end of the year, and that's a fair point. But, the Bears did not deserve to make the playoffs this past season. They did not. There's
no way.
No way.
They didn't deserve to be anywhere near that conversation of the playoffs. Really? No. They didn't.
No.
It was terrible.
No, they did not deserve to make the playoffs at all. It's...
But every time, though, Kenny...
Thanks.
It makes you laugh. Because we saw perhaps Mitchell Trubisky's best throw that he's ever thrown.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it went right through Javon Wims' hands in the end zone. And that just sums up what the Bears have been like the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And for a good amount of time. Hey, we can't forget, too, the Tampa Bay Bucks, the Super Bowl champs, man. They've re-signed Shaq Barrett, Levante David, Gronk for another year, and they tagged Godwin.
Yeah, so...
They are going to be nasty again.
Yeah, they officially brought everybody back.
Yes. Tom Brady and Tampa, are literally going to run it for number 8. I don't know what I just saw. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. No, I just Skip Bayless shirtless on Instagram.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Oh. But the Bucks, like you just said, they got everybody. They are
Biggest
teaming
supporter
up.
is Skip Bayless, the Bucks.
They are teaming up. Number 8. I think it's absolutely in the cards now that it could happen with everyone coming back. It really might happen.
Yeah,
And we keep saying every year, oh, Tom Brady, he's gonna fall off this year. It's all over.
Whoa. We don't keep saying that.
Okay, maybe that's me. That's me.
Yeah,
I'll take the book.
Yeah. Do we have to go back to the archives?
Let's not. No. Let's not go back
I don't
to the
know. I
archives.
think we might have to.
Oh no. Oh please no. Okay.
I'll have to look for. I'll have to look for it though.
You're right, Kenny. I'll take the blame on this one. This is really more so me, because after Super Bowl 52 happened, when the Patriots lost to the Eagles, when I famously said,
See if I can find
on
it.
air,
I definitely have it.
I don't know what happened to my brain, but it just literally left my body, and I said, Tom Brady didn't look so good. Meanwhile, he threw for 500 yards. The Pats only lost by 8 in what was perhaps one of the greatest Super Bowls ever. And I'm the one who said Tom Brady didn't have a good game. Upson, what was going through your head, man?
I can't find it.
That's really what I like to wonder sometimes. But ever since, it was even before that, honestly, I said, that after the Falcons game, I even said it the year before. I was like, well, this is great that, Brady had this gigantic comeback. Good for him. Good for it was the greatest comeback in the NFL. Perhaps in sports. But
wait. So you also said it in 2016 when he came back against the Falcons? Is that correct?
Oh my gosh, that was 2016?
Well, okay. If you want to get technical, it happened in 2017, but it was the 2016-2017 season.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what the Patriots, were going to look like next season either. Mm-hmm. But it was really amplified after the Eagles loss,
right?
Because I was thinking, well, this might actually be the start, and then the Patriots went out, won Super Bowl 53 against the Rams, which was one of the ugliest Super Bowls of all time. Then, the following year, Brady throws a pick 6 in the divisional round, yes, against the Titans up in Foxborough.
Wild card
to Logan Ryan. Oh, it was the wild card. Yep, you're right, because then the Ravens played the Titans in the divisional. Yes, that's right. Yes. The Ravens were the 1 seed that year. Mm-hmm. There you go, another gaffe. But, yeah, how funny. Full circle, Tom Brady threw a pick 6 to Logan Ryan right at the end of that game. And that's like, well, is that it? And then look what Tom Brady did last year. So the fact that the Bucks have everyone back now, Tom Brady is going to be what, 44 in August? Let me just check that. 44.
I think so.
He's going to be 44 next season. And the Bucks have everyone back. Watch that, because I'm cursed when I make some predictions.
Oh, you are?
But watch, I'm wrong now. Because Tom Brady has proved to me every time that, hey, I'm not going anywhere, dude. So, dare I say it, Tom Brady and the Bucks are going to run it back. I think they're actually going to run it back. Everyone is back in Tampa. They are locked and loaded. I mean, I'm sorry. I can't see anyone else in the NFC really challenging them in the end. I can't. It's so hard to say.
Can I just can I borrow the mini plug for a second? So
yes. Take the floor.
Oh. So,
the actual mini plug.
Yeah.
Oh, because he's bringing it up. Oh, yeah. So there you go, Kenny.
Well,
I said it. It's on the recording.
All right.
We'll see if this holds up.
All right. Let's see. Is this going to play? Let's see if this plays.
I think it's going to happen though.
Oh, it's not playing. Oh, wait.
Play it.
Is it playing?
What you got?
I have it plugged in.
We got some technical difficulties. But, you know what? Quickly, while we have a minute here, it is actually the top of the hour, 8 o'clock. So let's just run through the hourly sports update quick. Take a little sidetrack. Of course, college basketball, the March Madness tournament begins on Thursday with the first 4, and the round of 64 will be on Friday and Saturday. Of course, we'll get to that discussion a little bit later on in the show if we have some time. A lot of NHL action tonight. We got 4 games going on right now. Bruins and the Penguins tied at 1 at the end of the first. Devils 1-0 over the Sabres through 1. Islanders and the Caps, no score early second. And the Red Wings, wow, look at that up on the Hurricanes, 2-1 in the first period. Later tonight, Coyotes Wild, Lightning Stars, and Ducks Avalanche. And then over in the NBA, the Jazz and the Celtics, the only game going on right now. It's 18-10 Boston, 3:50 to go in the first. That game's on TNT. Coming up later tonight, Knicks Sixers, Cavs Heat, Thunder Bulls, Hawks Rockets, Pelicans Blazers, and Timberwolves Lakers. The Pelicans Blazers game you can also catch on TNT.
Okay.
So there you go. Back to where we were.
I think I got it.
I think
Columbia.
you do.
Maybe down double digits when I checked into the game. I remember making a layup, getting fouled, and Sidney being the first guy there.
Whoa!
Okay.
What is going on? What just got into my headset? Whoa! Wow.
All right. I think I know what I think I know what the problem is. So
Okay.
I have like
I was like, what's going on?
I have multiple tabs opened up right now. So that's why you got multiple things.
I just heard an explosion of sound
at the same time. Okay. All right.
Oh,
okay.
I needed that.
All right. Okay. No, because all
Continue with
right.
my-
No. So you know what happened? So I forgot because sometimes when you're in class, today was my in-person day, so sometimes you have the tendency to just kind of look at news and stuff. So I make sure to mute my my volume. So I did that. So I forgot to do that when we came in to do the show because I really didn't think I was going to be playing any sound bites. So I'm trying to play it and it's not working for some reason. So then I realized as Ben was going through the sports minute, I kept hitting the unmute button and it was picking up on his headphones, so that's why he muted the aux cord. So then when he turned it back on to see if I corrected the mistake, I unmuted and I had a tab opened up playing something else at the same time of the video that I was trying to play of him talking about Super Bowl, the Super Bowl that the Pats played the Eagles in. So now I think that there's nothing else playing. So let's just play that quick soundbite if it wants to work this time. And I just realized I unplugged the mini plug again. So let's see if it works this time. All right, it's still not playing. Oh, because I have the volume muted again.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah, so we're getting a little crazy with the volume here. All right,
how about you try it again?
All right, here we go.
After last year, when they lost to the Eagles, I was like, Brady didn't look so great in that game. It was like
he went for 500 yards.
Well, I was focusing more on
the most of any quarterback in any playoff game ever. 500 yards.
I think you're just remembering that fumble at the end of the game.
Yeah, and I think I was focusing on his bad drives instead.
The one bad drive that he had out of that whole game.
Yeah.
That was one of his best playoff games ever, and it lost.
He picked the Eagles' secondary apart. I don't know what you saw, Ben.
Yeah, wait, what did I see?
I don't know. I mean, did you tune in for the last drive of the game?
Yeah, I was rooting for the Eagles, I guess. Probably because I picked them.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta look at
after
again. Okay, so
Wow.
that's what I was trying to play for the last couple of minutes.
Looking back at that, that was freshman year, man. I don't know what in the world went through my head. Knowing me and my wicked crazy sleep schedule, I was probably on like 3 hours. Who knows? I don't know.
It's all right. At least,
but
me trying to embarrass you again ended up me embarrassing myself.
And I don't know what I heard in my headset, but there was like 3 things going on. And it's like, whoa, what's going on? I don't know what that was.
Okay.
So there you go. There's the proof. Brady didn't look so good. That's what I said. I said it. I'll own up to it. I was definitely zoned out in that discussion. Good Lord. I don't know. I don't know what happened to me. But Tom Brady, man, and the Bucks have everyone back in free agency, so they've got their roster stocked and loaded yet again.
Also, the Packers, they re-signed Aaron Jones to a 4-year contract. The guy's 26. They're going to have the running back tandem between him and A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon was obviously the running back they took in the second round last year's draft, so they went. They drafted a running back and they paid another running back. So, kind of confused with the Packers' strategy the last couple of years when it pertains to the draft and free agency. However, it is good. You're going to have a nice tandem. Obviously, Jamal Williams is the odd man out. So he'll be going on to another team, maybe get a better opportunity wherever he decides to go. So we're going to kind of regain our composure after what just transpired.
I don't know what that was.
What transpired over the last couple of minutes. When we come back, we're going to talk about what happened in last night's game between both New York basketball teams, the New York Nets and the New York Knicks. I almost combined both names. I thought I was going to say something else, but thank God that didn't happen. Okay. So when we come back, we will talk about the matchup between two New York basketball teams. Stick around. We'll be right back here on Infinite Sports Radio.
I need a drink.
Okay.
So there you go. Back to where we were.
I think I got it.
I
Columbia. Maybe down double digits when I checked into the game. I remember making a layup, getting fouled, and Sidney being the first guy there.
Whoa!
Okay.
What is going on? What just got into my headset? Whoa! Wow.
All right. I think I know what the problem is. So
okay.
I have like
I was like, what's going on?
I have multiple tabs opened up right now. So that's why you got multiple things.
I just heard an explosion of sound
at the same time. Okay. All right. All right. We're back here on Infinite Sports Radio. We just replayed that that mishap that happened right before the break.
I still can't get over that. It was too funny.
I love the confidence that I have. I'm like, yeah, I got it. I got it this time. And then I don't have the headphones on, so I wasn't listening to what was being played through the headset. Yeah, so because I had some tabs opened up, I guess when we were talking about Drew Brees or free agency or which one of those two topics, and one of those was playing a video on that site, and that was playing along with the video of Ben talking about how Tom Brady didn't look so good in the Super Bowl where he threw for 500 yards. So that's. That's why all of that panned out. But hey, I think we handled it well. Because sometimes those things happen during a broadcast, and you just kind of have to play it off, and that's what we did, and I think we did a pretty good job. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, for what ensued, which I still don't know what that was.
Yeah, I don't know either. It was some kind of interview or something with a player. I don't really know. I have no idea. Okay, so
whatever it was, though. Holy cow.
Yeah, so kind of leading into what we want to get into. This is hour number 2 of the radio program. Talk some basketball for a little bit. So the New York teams threw down last night at the Barclays Center, the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks. It looked like it was going to be a beatdown for some portion of the game. But the Knicks battled back and made things interesting towards the end of the game. I'm going to be honest, really didn't watch this game. I tuned in for the final couple minutes of the game. The Knicks started making things interesting. When the Knicks started making things interesting. But I will admit, I did turn it off. I think it was when Burks missed a three with about, I want to say like half a minute left, something like that. And I'm like, all right, well, this game's over. And then the Knicks were able to make it a 3-point game. And they got the ball back. And they had a chance to tie the game. Julius Randle went up to take a three. But it appeared that Kyrie Irving touched the ball. So Randle stopped everything, kind of did like an up and down. It looked like it from a glance, well, not really from a glance, but from watching the play, it looked like he did an up and down. So I was dumbfounded by what I just saw. I was like, why did he do that? And it was because when you see the replay, you could see that Kyrie Irving put his hand up on the ball to block the shot. And the officials, they reviewed it. They took a very long time in reviewing it. And usually when that kind of happens, that kind of thing happens, it usually, I don't know, it goes either way. I don't know. I think for different sports, sometimes when it takes a while, it usually doesn't go your way. But yeah, so and they ended up not overturning the call, that it was just a block shot. And the Knicks ended up turning the ball over, ended up being a turnover. And the Nets ended up winning the game, 117-112. And Julius Randle was livid after the game. Very upset over that call. And as our roommate Johnny has been putting it the last couple of weeks, the ref show reared its ugly head last night. Now, let's get a more passionate reaction, because the man next to me is more of a passionate Knicks fan than I am. I am a kind of a regular Knicks fan. I follow them. I think when it comes to basketball, I think the playoffs is where, my attention is more focused. But listen, what I will say is I think the fact that the Knicks were able to make this game close against a team that is very talented and is regarded as probably the favorites to win the East, at least I think, in the Brooklyn Nets. The Knicks showed a lot of fight, and the fact that they were able to battle back and make this game close is impressive. And I think this once again shows you that this is a different Knicks team than in years past. And I think the Knicks are going to hang around. And thank God for the play-in tournament, because I am very worried, especially when you got a team like the Toronto Raptors who are filled with injuries, that are close to them in the standings. Hopefully the Knicks can kind of, string a couple wins together and get themselves back on their feet. But, it is kind of upsetting that they couldn't get a final shot, the final shot that they wanted to maybe tie the game and, send it to overtime to see what happens with that. But kind of got way off the segue to my co-host here. So let's get a more aggressive reaction. We're going to do a good cop, bad cop type thing. So we'll get the better reaction from my co-host here, Mr. Upson. Upson Unleashed. Take it away.
Let's set the scene, Kenny. Here's the call from Mike Breen and Dorsberg on ESPN last night.
And Reggie Bullock. Knicks just refused to go away here tonight, even when the Nets had the big lead in the second half. Burks looking. Randle trying to get free. Randle fakes. And the ball went up and down. A traveling violation call on Randall. He's saying the ball was hit. Oh, what a big defensive play there from Brooklyn. Tom Thibodeau saying, get up on defense. Tenths of a second remaining. Randall still arguing, saying, why was that?
So he was pleading the case. Burks nearly turned it over. There Julius goes off his feet. I mean, I don't know. Did Kyrie get a piece of that?
It looked like he got a piece of it. Randall.
Yeah, that's what it felt like last night to be a New York Knicks fan, folks. Kenny, you mentioned it already, but as our good roommate Johnny likes to say, ref show, here comes the ref show. Love it. Hit it. I hit it. Scott Foster, Manhattan, wanted to go after him today. I mean, come on, man. Do you not see that Kyrie Irving tipped that ball? Come on, man. It wasn't a travel. Take a better look at that play. The Knicks, the New York Knicks, they looked dead in the water about midway or closer to the end of the third quarter last night. All right? This team was down 17 points. 17 points.
Can I just interject for a second? You didn't have a desire to watch this game, right? You didn't seem like you were that interested in wanting to watch this game.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay.
Because trust me, I definitely backtracked on that. I'm glad I watched. Thankfully, March Madness or whatever wasn't going on. Where was I? Down 17. All right? Knicks get a little burst to go to the quarter break, okay? Down 12. It's manageable. Manageable. They come out. They look okay. They hang in there. It's really back and forth. You know, Randall cut it to 7 at the 9-minute mark. Then Kyrie Irving answered right back with a 3. Randall cut it back to 8. Speaking of Julius Randall, he's unbelievable. If it weren't for Julius Randall, I don't know where the New York Knicks would be right now. They would not be a 500 basketball team, I'll tell you that. Because it's been impressive what this team has done this year. Then we get to the second half of the quarter. Nets go back up by as much as 11. Harden makes a layup at the 6.5-minute mark there. Then Alec Burks, R.J. Barrett, cut it to 4 with some big shots. James Harden gets it back up to 7 with about 2.5 minutes to go. Randall scores some buckets. It's down to 4 again. Here we go down the stretch. James Harden makes 2 free throws after Alec Burks fouled him. Nets are up 7, 28.6 left. Things aren't looking so good. R.J. Barrett, Nets give him a dunk, all right? 22.4 to go. And the Nets at this time had 2 timeouts left. So, R.J. Barrett makes the dunk. What does Tom Thibodeau preach like always? Defense. That is what Tom Thibodeau has brought to this team. And in those last 20 seconds, the New York Knicks played some of the best defense that you'll see all season. Locked down. They were on James Harden. He had nothing, nowhere to go. And the Nets were out of timeouts after they had to burn their last 2. The Knicks didn't do it just once, not twice, 3 times. 3 times. And we stem back a little bit before the very controversial call by Scott Foster. 7.7 on the clock. Knicks had just scored. Again, fighting for that ball. And they call a foul. They call a foul. Because Joe Harris was the one who had the ball this time. I'm pretty sure it was Randall who went after him. And they called a foul. Thankfully, this challenge system works out most of the time. Knicks challenged the call. It's overturned. They got the ball back. So the ref show was already starting to get into play. That was just the warm-up. Now, they jumped it up at the center circle. And Knicks called their last timeout. 5.7 left. And again, this is where it all stemmed. I don't even care that the Knicks lost this game. It's just the fashion that they lost it in. Like I said, the New York Knicks played some of the best 20 seconds of basketball defense that you'll see. It is not like that in the NBA these days. Not a lot of teams out there can defend like the Knicks did last night. And you call a travel. Get out of here. Scott Foster has been known to make controversial calls like this in the past. And it happened to the Knicks last night. So, thank you to Scott Foster. Thanks a lot for, ruining what was not a travel. The Knicks could have at least had a shot attempt. Oh, but no, it was a travel. I mean, come on, man. Not a travel. As Stephen A. says. No. That's what he would have been saying. I didn't see First Take today, but I'm sure that's what he was saying. I'm sorry. That is a terrible call. Kyrie Irving clearly tipped that ball. That should not have been a travel. Again, just getting back to the whole concept of the game. Phenomenal defense. Phenomenal at the end. I will say, the Knicks did not shoot well in this game overall. 40% from the field. Randall, 33 points. RJ Barrett with 23. Emmanuel Quickley, 21. Fantastic.
And that
Fantastic.
that was Quigley's first start?
That was his
right?
first start of the season. Now, he did shoot 4 of 12 from 3. But, you know what? 21 points. And
he always likes to chuck up threes, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's floaters or threes. That's mainly Quigley's game right now. And, I'm very pleased, that Julius Randle was able to get 33, shooting 13 of 27. That's 50% basically. I mean, that's actually really well done, what Julius did last night. And he had a double-double, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. As I said, without Julius Randle, who knows where this team would be right now? Really. And Knicks are off to a okay start in Philly tonight, playing a back-to-back with the Sixers. It's 14 apiece. They're late in the first quarter already. Randall's got 7 of their 14. And very cold shooting starts for both teams. But I'm sorry. The ending of last night's game was a prime example of what Johnny's been preaching, the ref show. It doesn't happen as much in the NBA. It's more of a college basketball thing. But terrible ending to what was a fantastic game. If the Knicks won that game, there'd be a parade in Manhattan today.
Well, there was one, 2 weeks ago? When they were game over 500?
Well, yes, that's true.
Oh, the way they celebrated.
That's right. When the Knicks actually broke 500 before the All-Star break.
God, it gets me so nervous when you look at me and you just have no idea what I'm talking about. And it's just like, did I say it?
Nope, you're right. You were right, Ken. You know what? Like I said, I just don't know what I unleashed. Really, this was a hardcore upset unleashed.
You know, I feel...
I'm gonna step down now. It's over. It is what it is. Scott Foster likely screwed us, in my opinion. Some people have it different. Fine. That's okay. It's all about opinions. This is a free country. But that was poor.
Deal. No.
I didn't even mean to hit that. My hand literally just went down on the keypad, and Stephen A is saying no.
We gotta figure out this mini plug issue. I mean, we just have no idea what we're doing with it.
Had to turn that off. But yes. Anyways, I'm sorry, Kenny. I'm taking up your time. This is your show, man. Ups and Unleashed.
Whoa.
I went full on rage.
Yeah. No. It's fine.
You know what? It's on to the next game. The Knicks are 500 still. All right.
Exactly.
They are still playing great basketball. Like I said, that 20 seconds of defense last night was unbelievable. That is what the Knicks are capable of. New York pride. And I don't care if that team on the other side is better and is likely going to win the East and has a really nice shot at winning the title this year. I don't care. The Knicks, they are still the heartbeat of the city. They still are. A lot of Knicks fans at the Barclays Center last night. For what amount of people were in attendance. All right? But good job, Nets, I guess. Oops, knocked my mic. I guess. So, tough ending to what was a really intense game down the stretch. On to Philly. Let's go get the win tonight, Knicks. Come on. Let's do it.
One quick thing is the audio playing outside? Is it?
I don't know, because if I did, my voice was definitely booming through these halls.
Yeah. Because as you were ranting, if people on the outside could hear that, I feel bad for them. No, I'm just kidding.
So there is Ups and Unleashed tonight, and that was a really big Unleashed.
Yeah,
so there you go.
that was probably one of your best rants yet. I got some of it on video, and I'm gonna make sure that I download it later when I eventually edit some of the shows that we've had. Been lacking on that a little bit, but we have that audio now forever once we obtain it. But yeah, it's just one of those things where the officials kind of interfere with the game, and they take the game out of the hands of the players, and they dictate what outcome of the game is, and that's
what it was.
That's a call that kind of determined the game a little bit. Now, does Randall make that shot? I don't think he does. I think the Nets win the game, regardless of what happens.
I just wish that they had a chance.
Yeah.
That's it,
They needed a 3 to tie the game. Randall's is their best player right now. Had another great performance, 33 points. He's been having a great year. But it does stink because, it's just one of those things that it like you said in your rant, it's not about the loss, it's how they lost this game. And it's just, whenever a game has to come down to an official making the right call, it's, one side is going to be disappointed. And in this case, it was the New York Knicks. Listen, the fact that they were down by as much as they were and they were able to battle back and make this game close is impressive. Now, the Nets, they've kind of hit their stride a little bit. Obviously, acquiring Blake Griffin from the Pistons. I don't know if we ever touched upon that at all. So, they're ready to make a title run, and I think they're probably going to be the Eastern Conference representative when the NBA Finals roll around in the summer. The Sixers and the Bucks are definitely going to have something to say about that, but I just think when they're healthy, the Nets, I don't think anybody's going to stop them. I really don't. As for the Knicks, like I said, I'm kind of worried about them going down the stretch because, right now some teams are hitting their stride. The Eastern Conference is very top heavy, but the Knicks, they gotta string together a couple of wins, get themselves back on track, and it's not like football where a controversial call happens and you got to wait another week. They got another game to play. They're playing right now, and against another tough opponent in the 76ers. So, you know what? Still got to be encouraged as a Knicks fan. Another thing that I want to touch upon is again, what is going on at Madison Square Garden? Since we're talking about the Knicks, what is going on at Madison Square Garden? Why is it now we got Spike Lee, now we got Patrick Ewing, who has trouble with security getting into the arena? What is going on there? Do they just? I don't understand. I really don't get it. I don't know why Madison Square Garden has just. These are well-known people. Patrick Ewing is one of the greatest Knicks of all time. Built that place, and you could say
you don't know who he is.
Yeah,
come on, it's Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, it's. I don't know what's going on at the Garden, but you know what? For Patrick Ewing, yes, he had to deal with that, but think about it. He's coaching a team that is headed to the NCAA tournament in Georgetown, and let's see what they could do. Let's see what they could do. At least they got that going for them.
Yeah, seriously, what a story Georgetown was in this Big East tournament. And, they were picked. It really was just one great storyline of what was a memorable champ week. And picked last to finish in the Big East in the preseason polls. A 0.5% chance, according to ESPN's Basketball Power Index, to win the Big East title. And what did they do? Blew the doors in on Marquette by 19. Eked by Villanova by 1. Got by Seton Hall in the semis by 8. And absolutely demolished Creighton in the final. Creighton. A top 25 team in the nation. Fantastic shooters in Mitch Balak and Denzel Mahoney. A great big man, Marcus Zagorowski. And they shut them down. Georgetown went on a, 38-6 run. 38-6. That's crazy. Creighton scored 3 points in 10 minutes. They couldn't get anything going. And what a run by Georgetown. I hope that those security guards know who he is after that. You see that guy holding the trophy? That is Patrick Ewing.
That's pretty sad. You got to, all those years as a New York Knick. That's, him propelling Georgetown to an NCAA tournament bid. That really pathetic on the part of those security guards, if that's what it takes to know who Patrick Ewing is. But, yeah, it's a great story. They play Colorado. They enter the tournament as a 12th seed. Let's see what happens. Tournament week was pretty crazy. Unfortunately, the Quinnipiac Bobcats could not punch their ticket. Who did they play? Iona? Is that who they played? It was Iona, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was Iona.
Fun fact, they stormed to the MAC championship, and they won. They're going dancing now.
Yeah, against Alabama. I think that's going to be a tough matchup for them.
Yeah.
And when you think of Alabama, you think of football. But no, Alabama is a number 2 seed this year in the tournament, and that's going to be a tough matchup for Iona. But I guess kind of, make our predictions here. So Ben, who do you think is going to make the Final Four? Because obviously, if we go through the whole bracket, we're gonna be here till 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we will be here till 10 o'clock.
Now, for me, I you know what? I'm gonna go first because I think I'm somebody that's pretty. I don't know how to put it. I'm gonna say I'm gonna be pretty. I'm gonna go with the grain and not against the grain. I'm gonna say that Gonzaga is one of those teams. I am gonna say that Michigan has kind of dropped a couple games over the last couple weeks. I think they get there. I think Illinois is a team that you have really praised over the past couple weeks. You've been saying, watch out for them. I think they get there. And then going to the South, I guess you got to go with Baylor. So if you're a big college basketball fan, you will see that I picked all 4 number 1 seeds to go to the Final Four. Now, the one team, the one seed that I don't feel confident in is Michigan. That is the one team that I could see losing at some point. Now, I don't know who they would lose to, but I could see Michigan being the team that doesn't get to the Final Four. I think Gonzaga is going to win the whole thing. It's undefeated. They're clearly the best team coming into this tournament. Haven't lost. I think a lot of... Actually, interesting, before we came down, there was a stat on ESPN. It said 64% of the people that filled out the bracket said Gonzaga will not win the national championship.
Which I found to be a little bit shocking, but at the same
time...
But
you gotta understand, this tournament could be full of upsets.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, this tournament could be insane. I mean, there's the potential in the first round that we see quite a few upsets. Absolutely, Kenny.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, look, the Gonzaga Bulldogs have had a season unlike any other. I mean, really. I know they get criticized quite a bit for playing in the West Coast Conference, which really has not a lot of competition. BYU, they're trying to make something special this season. They're a 6th seed. They got to face the winner of Wichita State or Drake, I'm pretty sure, in the first round. Michigan State, UCLA, the winner of that game for the first 4.
Yeah, how about that Michigan State being part of the first 4 matchups?
Yeah, against UCLA. You hardly see first 4 matchups that are really that special.
I mean, Michigan State's usually one of the top teams.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Not this year, though. It's a different story. But, look, there's definitely... I think this is a favorite-heavy scenario for me, Kenny. I really can't see, Gonzaga not getting to the Final Four. I really can't. They should at least make it to the Elite 8. Gonzaga is so good offensively. Between Corey Kispert, who's a pretty lethal three-point shooter, Drew Timme on the inside. So good. Great big man for Gonzaga. And also the freshman Jalen Suggs has really been doing some crazy things for the Bulldogs. Now, look, it's not going to be easy, as they get later on. I really think there's the potential for them to have to play Iowa in the Elite 8. That's the way the bracket would look right now. I really don't think, though, that Gonzaga is going to have any trouble with anyone up till the Sweet 16. And obviously, the seed that they could potentially end up playing in the Sweet 16 would be either Creighton or Virginia. Or if there's upsets there. But I think Creighton and Virginia would definitely be a likely round of 32 matchup, and it would lead to a Gonzaga against either Creighton or Virginia in the Sweet 16.
And Creighton's also been kind of struggling, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, especially with that Georgetown loss. A lot of question marks now are surrounding them. Really. But, so Gonzaga is team 1. Now, team number 2, it's a bit tougher out of the East. Gonzaga's, of course, in the West. In the East, Michigan, Alabama, Texas, and Florida State are your top 4. I really think Michigan still has enough in them, even without Isaiah Livers, who is a key contributor on their offense. I still think they have enough to get to the Elite 8. But I really, really would love to see Alabama beat them and get to the Final Four. I'm taking Alabama as team number 2 to meet up with Gonzaga. Now, in the South, Baylor and Ohio State are the top seeds. Either one of these teams is capable, I think, of potentially getting to the Final Four. I don't think it's so tough. It is so tough picking anything, any bracket. But I personally like Ohio State a little bit better than Baylor.
Okay.
A little bit. I'm going to get Ohio State into the Final Four here. And then out of the Midwest, even though a really tough draw, these Illinois Fighting Illini are pretty special. Especially over these last 2-3 weeks, blowing out Michigan on their home court. And winning the Big Ten just recently. Ohio State gave them a great fight. And like I said, I have it as one of these Final Four matchups, I think. I think your Final Four right now will be Gonzaga, Bama, and Ohio State, Illinois. This is just my first presumptions. My perceptions are different.
At least they're different from me. I'm going with the grain, picking all the 1 seeds.
Well, I'm not counting out Baylor. I think if Baylor and Ohio State were to meet in the Elite 8, like I like it, I really think Baylor is capable of getting to the Final Four. Michigan is too. I think they might have enough, but I think the Elite 8 is the end of their road in this tournament. But in the Final Four, I think it's got to be Gonzaga and Illinois getting to the title game. It's only fitting. For what has been really, great seasons for both these teams. And I know Jay Billis, actually, who's, one of ESPN's lead commentators, has this matchup in the championship game. Gonzaga and Illinois, just imagining this matchup is really a dream scenario for the national title game. 2-1 seeds. Who knows if it's going to happen? Oh, it's going to be a crazy tournament no matter what. But I think it's safe to say that, one of these teams will make this title game. I really think so. It might not be both. It might not be. But I think at least one of them will. And I'm going to go against the grain. I think, even though 64% have not picked Gonzaga on ESPN Tournament Challenge to win it all, I'm going to go with that 64%. I'm taking the Illinois Fighting Illini to win it all. That's my pick. Over Gonzaga.
Wow.
Over the Bulldogs.
You said
I just think
really like Illinois.
I just think that Illinois has proved a lot over these last 2 to 3 weeks. Obviously, we'll see what happens. The bracket will be busted in the first day, like every single year.
Yep.
Unless you really hit these upsets right in the first round. Because I'm telling you, Kenny, there are some matchups in the first round that could potentially be upsets. But that's another story.
I don't know. I just from my perspective and how, popping in, seeing you watching all the conference tournament games and the, the banter that you have over college basketball, that you've had. I don't know. I feel like I have Creighton winning in the first round, but I could see them losing.
It's very possible.
I can see them losing.
They would have to play either. If they were to get to the second round, of course, it could be Creighton, Virginia, likely, in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not an easy matchup.
No.
Not at all.
Virginia's there every year,
Virginia is really good. Yeah, and I'm sorry. I can't see, Gonzaga losing to either Virginia or Creighton. I think they're too powerful. There is the possibility, I will not rule this out, that Gonzaga could lose to Iowa in a potential Elite Eight matchup if it gets there. I think that's possible. I still favor Gonzaga in that regard. But like I said, first picks right now, it's going to change as we get closer.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate that, our show's Tuesday.
I know. But first picks right now, like I said, for the Final Four, I got Gonzaga, Alabama, Ohio State, and Illinois. We'll see what happens. So that's 2 1 seeds and 2 2 seeds. So you have all the 1 seeds, right, Kenny? You have Gonzaga, Baylor, Illinois, and Michigan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, and those are great picks too.
Yeah. I
really
mean, with the knowledge of college basketball that I have, it's not very impressive. It's not very original, but
those three of those 4
But
seeds,
I feel like you can't go wrong with them.
If Michigan had Isaiah Livers, I would say all those 1 seeds could very well be perhaps the best 4 teams in the country. I dropped Michigan a little bit on my list just because of that Livers injury, but it's very possible, Kenny, that Gonzaga, Illinois, and Baylor all make the Final Four. That's how good these teams look right now. And like I said, the way the history's been, brackets are never kind. So
no, they're not. They're not.
So we'll see what happens. But
I picked Duke to win the whole thing, and they lost to, I think it was Mercy. They were.
Yeah.
Mercer.
I
Yeah.
said Mercy. Mercy.
Yeah.
Mercy.
Yeah. So, I know all about that. So,
yeah. So there you go. There's what I'm thinking right now.
The thing I would like to say though is I think for everybody, including myself, as a regular spectator of college basketball, it is so great that this year we're going to have a tournament. We're getting close to normalcy. It was very devastating not to have the tournament last year, and I think a lot of college basketball fans will say they are ecstatic that this tournament is taking place. It should be fun. It should be memorable. I'm excited for it. I know this kid next to me is excited for it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. It should be a great tournament, full of upsets, full of bracket busters. And out of all these teams, we will have a champion. So
now
let's see what happens.
With the time that we have left, Kenny, do you have any potential dark horses that you want to give out?
Oh God, any dark horses? You're asking me? I exited. Okay, I'm going to say UConn.
Hey, that is definitely a good one.
I'm going to say UConn, just because the great state of Connecticut. I did root for this team a couple years back. Now the reason why I did is in the famous Christmas movie Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Yukon Cornelius. When he fell off the cliff, attacking the abominable snowman with his dogs, Rudolph and the elf. Oh my God! What was the elf's name?
Hermie.
Thank you. Oh my gosh! How can I forget that? They both screamed Yukon as he fell. So that just became a little of a meme for me back then. So I'm gonna say UConn just for that reason. Is there any others? I don't really know. I mean, Iona? No, not Iona. Definitely not Iona.
No way. At a 15?
I don't know, because I had the bracket open and then I closed it out. I mean, you could say maybe one of the teams that is playing on Thursday. Maybe Michigan State. Does Michigan State, come that team that they usually are, or one of the best teams in the tournament? One of the enticing matchups that I'm looking forward to is Wisconsin versus UNC.
Yes.
Two big programs going at it. I'm interested in that one, I have to say. Yeah, the Clemson-Rutgers game, that intrigues me a little bit. I mean, you could throw in Georgetown, too, just because of how they played in the conference tournament.
Yeah, Colorado's a nice first-round matchup for them. Yep. Of course, the dream team, Loyola Chicago Ramblers, back in
the tournament. Yeah, that's right.
And Sister Jean, at 101 years old, is headed back to the tournament. She's going to watch them go through it. And, of course, it's amazing. Of course, the chaplain. That's what she is. That's her title. And 101. And she's luckily she's been vaccinated. She's cleared to go.
That's great.
She is going to the tournament.
Yeah. And I guess maybe one more team, I'd say Oregon.
Ooh.
I don't know.
I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, so
I don't mind that. Oregon's been a good team in the Pac-12 this year.
Yeah, so what did I say? I said UConn, I said Oregon, and well, I just said one of the enticing matchups of the first round I think is Wisconsin-UNC. But you know what's interesting is no Kentucky and no Duke this year.
Yeah, it doesn't feel 100% right filling out the bracket without him.
I guess one more team I'll throw in. I'll throw in Florida. Why not? 7 seed.
Wow, Florida.
7 seeds. Why not? Why not? I don't know.
UConn's a 7 seed too.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going all 7 seeds. I don't know. It's number 7.
All right. I like that.
Maybe Texas Tech. Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Their college. They made it to the tournament a few years ago.
Texas Tech is on my radar. They're definitely atop my dark horse list.
I'd probably say those 4 and Michigan State.
Okay. Very interesting. We'll see. I'd see how these play out.
And you probably, if you wanted me to elaborate, I couldn't really elaborate, but
that's okay.
But those are good programs.
No, Texas Tech for sure. They've been, a fairly sneaky team in the Big 12. Definitely one of the bigger dark horses in this tournament. TJ Shannon and Kyler Edwards among some, and Mac McClung, who transferred from Georgetown. And he's there in his first year. Texas Tech, definitely, I think. You can't forget about the Oklahoma State Cowboys. 4 seed out of the Big 12, Cade Cunningham, and the Big 12 Player of the Year. Of course, Oklahoma State, there was a bit of a cloud hanging over their head. We didn't know necessarily, was the NCAA going to activate that 1-year postseason ban? Thankfully, they didn't, and this team is in the tournament because that's awesome that we're going to get to see some Cade Cunningham, of course. Look, I really think Texas, too, out of the Big 12. They're not a huge dark horse necessarily, but with the powerhouse teams that we have at the top in Baylor, Illinois, Gonzaga, and Michigan, they're a dark horse. Shaka Smart, I've always liked him. He's a great basketball mind. Jericho Sims, their big man inside. Did anyone see Matt Coleman, too, go off against Oklahoma State in the Big 12 title game? He had 30 points. Unreal. And then I guess one more I'm really keeping my eye on. I'd have to say, wow, this is tough. Probably West Virginia. I think West Virginia should be, kept an eye on them too. I think they have a small chance. I've liked Bob Huggins too, another good head coach. In one of my more upset adjusted brackets, I have West Virginia over Gonzaga in the title game. Now, obviously, is that likely to happen? Well, no. But then again, we don't know. The odds of a perfect bracket are absurd. It's actually really crazy how the perfect bracket, the odds are slim to none. It's really impressive. But
yeah, you'd have to do a lot of different combinations.
Yeah, but so
to get to that point,
but so yeah, Texas, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, and I forget the other team I said. Texas. Oh yeah, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, and West Virginia. Those are definitely 4 that I have my eye on. So we'll see what happens, Kenny. But the
Yeah,
journey,
you always love to say that.
The journey begins Thursday night with the first 4. Friday, Saturday, you got the round of 64, and then Sunday, Monday, round 32.
Yeah. Yep. It's an exciting time, and also, you know, I got a couple of weeks away from opening day. NFL free agency is in full swing. The NBA second half is underway. It's been underway. But it's a great time to be a sports fan. It is a great time to be a sports fan.
Indeed.
That's all I can say. All right, so that is all the time we have for tonight. If you stuck around with us for the full 2 hours of all the mishaps and whatnots that occurred during this broadcast, we really appreciate it. We will be back same time, same place next Tuesday at 7. As always, I'm Kenneth Gruenfelder, along with Ben Upson, saying have a good night, and we will see you next time.
Peace.